Hello everyone. This video will focus on the past year NEET questions on the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variation, and this is part 1. We will cover a lot of past year NEET question papers, and this is one of the most important chapters. So the best would be that once you have prepared the chapter, you should definitely go through all these questions, which will give you a practice and a feeling of what kind of questions are asked. So the first question is, the genotype of a husband and wife are IAIB and IAI. Among the blood types of their children, how many different genotypes and phenotypes are possible? So, for such kinds of questions, it is always very good if you quickly write it down, If you just write it down and do a cross, that will lead to no chances of error, So, okay, so what is this? Is blood group A, this is blood group A, this is blood group AB, and this is blood group B. So, how many different genotypes are there? Different genotypes are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how many different phenotypes are there? 1, 2, and 3. So, the correct answer is 4 genotypes and 3 phenotypes. Okay. So it is always important, that you write it down. When you practice it often, it will be very fast. And if you really write it down, you can never go wrong. You can try to do it in your mind. It might take 3-4 seconds less, but there is a possibility of error. So it's the best that you always write it down. So the next question is, amongst the following characters, which one was not considered by Mendel in his experiments on P? Trichomes, glandular or non-glandular, seed green or yellow, pod inflated or constricted, stem tall or dwarf. So all the Mendelian characters are listed here, and you should definitely remember them even in your sleep, you should definitely know. So did he do stem tall or dwarf? Yes. Pod inflated constricted? Yes. Seed green or yellow? Yes. And the only thing he did not see was trichomes, glandular or non-glandular. Okay, so the correct answer is A. You should definitely remember this table. And the next question, again you see, in 2017. So we have already seen 3 questions that came in the year 2017, and they are not that difficult. So which one from those given below is the period for Mendel's hybridization experiment? So always the name of the scientist and year is very important. So if you don't know, you can just lose on this. But if you know, it is a very easy question. And what is the correct answer? It is given in the NCERT that Mendel conducted the experiments for 7 years on P between 1856 to 1863. Okay, and he published his data in 1865. So now you should also remember when he published his data. It was 1865. So the correct answer here is D, 1856 to 1863. So the next question is, a tall, true breeding garden pea plant is crossed with a dwarf, true breeding garden pea plant. When the F1 plant were selfed, the resulting genotypes were in the ratio of. Now, if you have done enough practice, you already know this by heart. But if not, what we will do, we will again write. A tall, true breeding garden plant is crossed with a true dwarf. And what is the F1? The F1 is this. Now the F1 is crossed with itself. And then what do you get? So this is what will you get. And now they are asking, the genotypes were in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 1. 1 tall homo, 2 tall hetero, and 1 dwarf. So what is the correct answer? Tall homo, tall hetero, dwarf. So the correct answer is A. Okay, so here you can really save time, if you know this already, because this is something that you might have practiced a lot of times. But if not, it is always good to spend like a few seconds more and be sure. The correct answer is A. The next question is match the following question. They'll always ask you these kinds of questions. This was again asked in the year 2016. So match the terms in column 1 with column 2. So what is dominance? These are all the terms that you must know. Dominance, codominance, pleiotropic and polygenic inheritance. So let's do it one by one. So what is dominance? Dominance, in a heterozygous organism, only one allele expresses itself. So, if this is the heterozygous, it will be expressed as tall because only this will be expressed. Okay, that is dominance. What is codominance? In a heterozygous organism, both alleles express themselves fully, and this happens, in case of blood groups, in case of human beings. Okay. Then what is pleiotropy? So pleiotropy can be a single gene influences many characters. When genes are pleiotropic in nature, a single gene can influence a lot of different characters. And then polygenic inheritance is many genes govern a single character. Okay, so the correct answer here is B. So always go one by one and then write down what is the correct answer. So you must know all these definitions. So the next is, in a test cross involving F1 dihybrid flies, more parental type offsprings were produced than the recombinant type. This indicates what? So you see that more parental were produced, okay, than the recombinant. This indicates what? The two genes are located on two different chromosomes. Chromosomes fail to separate during meiosis. The two genes are linked and present on the same chromosome. Both of the characters are controlled by more than one gene. So what is the correct answer here? The correct answer here is C. And why is that? Because when two genes in a dihybrid cross are situated on the same chromosome, the proportion of parental gene combinations are much higher than the non-parental recombinant type, and this is also called as incomplete linkage. Okay, is this clear? So the two genes are present on the same chromosome. Okay, when they are present on the same chromosome, then it will lead to more parental type and less recombinant type, because less recombination will take place. Okay, so the next question is, a cell at telophase stage is observed by a student in a plant brought from the field. So it is the telophase stage. He tells his teacher that the cells are not like other cells at the telophase stage. There is no formation of cell plate, and thus the cell is containing more number of chromosomes as compared to the other dividing cell. What would this result in? Would this result in aneuploidy, polyploidy, somaclonal variation, or polyteny? Okay, so what the student observed, there is no formation of cell plate and the cell is containing more number of chromosomes. So what is the condition when more number of chromosomes are present? It is polyploidy. Okay, so this phenomena is known as polyploidy, wherein the cells contain more than two paired homologous chromosomes. It is often seen in case of plants. The major cause of polyploidy is non-disjunction of sister chromatids during meiotic recombination, and that is why he observed more number of chromosomes. This condition is useful in development of new crop varieties. Okay, so you should also understand this explanation. There can be sometimes question in a different way. So the correct answer here is B, polyploidy. So how many pairs of contrasting characters in a pea plant were studied in Mendel in his experiment? This is again a question, that you should definitely know in your sleep. So how many was it? Was it 6, 8, 7 or 5? We all know it was 7. So 7 pair of contrasting characters were selected in a pea plant and studied by Mendel in his experiment. Which is the most common mechanism of genetic variation in the population of sexually reproducing organism? Is it chromosomal aberration? Is it genetic drift? Is it recombination, or it is transduction? So what causes more variation is The process of recombination. Okay, so this is how the chiasma is formed, and this is how recombination takes place. You can see here the difference between the blue and the violet. This causes recombination. So the process, the most common mechanism of genetic variation in sexually reproducing organism is recombination. So the correct answer is C. What are alleles? Alleles are true breeding homozygotes. They are different molecular form of a gene. They are heterozygotes, or they are different phenotypes. What are alleles? For example, a plant can be tall and the two alleles can be this and this. So they are different molecular forms of a gene. Okay, they are alternative forms of the same gene. So in his classic experiment on pea plants, Mendel did not use what? Pod length, seed shape, flower position, or seed color. Again, it is very important that you learn this table even in your sleep. So, what is the correct answer? Did he see the seed color? Yes, he saw seed color. Seed shape? Yes. Flower position? Yes. So, what he did not see was the pod length. So, the correct answer is A. Okay, so you see, these are the type of questions that are repeating. It was asked also in 2017 and again in 2015 in a different way. So definitely, this table is something you should definitely know. So just remember this, because these questions are very easy to answer. A man with blood group A marries a woman with blood group B. What all are the possible blood groups of their offsprings? So this is again, this types of questions. So the possible genotype of a man with blood group A can be this, either it can be homo or it can be hetero. And the woman with blood group B can be this. And when you cross these two, the possibilities are A, B, AB and O. Okay, so it is always important, if you know this, because generally, when we study this, that if A marries B, all the possible combinations are possible. But if you don't remember, again, you can always do this cross and you can then see what is the answer. So here the answer is B. Multiple alleles are present at different loci on the same chromosome, at same locus of the chromosome, on non-sister chromatids, on different chromosomes. So what is the answer here? An allele of a gene are situated on same loci of chromosome in organism. This is a very easy and simple question if you know what is an allele. It is present at the same locus of the chromosome. A gene showing codominance has alleles tightly linked on the same chromosome, alleles that are recessive to each other, both alleles independently expressed in the heterozygote, one allele dominant on the other. What is the easiest example of codominance? It is the blood group AB, where both of them are expressed. So both alleles independently expressed in the heterozygotes. Okay, both alleles are independently expressed in the heterozygotes. So the answer is C. And fruit color in squash is an example of, you must have studied about, this kind of this fruit color in squash example. So what happens in case of fruit color in squash? When it is in the dominant state, the color is yellow, and when it is in the recessive state, the color is green. And what is this mechanism? It is dominant epistasis. Okay, so epistasis is the phenomenon of suppression of phenotypic expression of gene by non-allelic gene, which shows its own effect. A dominant epistatic allele suppresses the expression of non-allelic gene, whether the latter is dominant or recessive. Okay, so this is very important. For example, food color of summer squash is governed by a gene which produces yellow color in dominant state and green color in the recessive state. So the correct answer here is B, dominant epistasis. This is one of those difficult questions for which you should definitely know the concept very well. So thank you for watching this video, and we will come up with more videos with the past year NEET questions from this chapter.